we approach a piece of music that's never been performed before, to me that's really exciting because there is no performance tradition. You know, when you play a piece by Tchaikovsky that's been done a million times, you as a conductor may have a specific idea of how you'd like it to go, but because all these musicians have played the piece many times in many different scenarios, sometimes there's a little bit of a battle just kind of herding everybody together and getting the interpretation you want. With a brand new piece, you know, we're creating the performance tradition on the spot, you know. I think it's important for orchestras to play new music, whether it's brand new, like a premiere, like we have coming up with Steve's piece, or pieces that are new to the audience, can be a less familiar work by a familiar composer. I mean, there are plenty of pieces by Tchaikovsky and Beethoven that we've never played and that aren't played that often. And in the case of Steve's, I think it's great that Steve lives right here in our community. I think, that'll be a way for the audience to feel that they have a connection to the piece even before they hear the first note.
I'm originally from Philadelphia, and that's where I did my studies for music. I studied with Jeffrey Mumford, who was a friend and student himself of Elliott Carter, who was a two-time Pulitzer Prize winning composer of the 20th century, a giant in contemporary music. So I was fortunate to have a teacher like that. He gave me a lot, Jeffrey Mumford. I came to Brevard County in 2009, my wife and I. We moved here basically because my family had moved here, and we thought, wow, well, Florida must be pretty nice. So we thought about doing it too. So they brought us here, and we love it. We love Melbourne. We love Florida. It's a great place. We love the symphony. I began composing when I was about 9, and my mom was the one that she plays piano. She taught me my first music on piano. And I decided one day when I was about 9-ish, a little bit after the piano lessons, I decided I wanted to write my own piece and be creative with it. And so I did. I sat down with pen and paper and wrote out a little piece in F major. My dad had an extensive record collection, and from the time I was born, he just played all kinds of different music. His favorite classical music was from the Romantic period, so he had lots of composers from that time period. So I grew up listening to that music, and he was also into whatever rock was happening at the time, the Beatles and the Moody Blues, things like that, and electronic music even. He was into really cutting-edge electronic music, so I heard all these things growing up, which definitely had an influence and impact on my musical career. The inspiration for Fanfare developed out of the idea that I wanted to create a piece that was accessible to an audience, but yet had elements of the musical processes I work with. And so I wanted to merge those two ideas of this accessibility, a cinematic type piece that was very textural and dramatic in a sense, but with this underlying very rigorous process behind it, almost mathematical. There's a definite forward momentum to this piece. So I think the global structure is what is going to grab people. The arc form, as Chris had mentioned, and when I first discussed this with Chris, he had mentioned that the piece has a very defined arc to it, or arch. And so what you'll hear is this opening, moving through, kind of curving around, and then finally coming back to the beginning in a sense, but building through this 5-minute gradual crescendo in a sense.